So today in the Chokeslam Wrestling Report, episode 253, we're going to be talking about the all-in, everything that happened, most of the stuff that did happen. But we're not going to go through matches, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and my take on some of the matches and what occurred after the matches. Also, we're going to be talking about Seth Rollins being the WWE just lost Seth Rollins for SummerSlam. Now, my question is, would he, what's going to happen with the Money in the Bank right now? And is this a karma for WWE counting programming on AEW? We're going to be talking about that and much more on the Chokeslam Wrestling Report.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Oh, welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report. I am so sorry that I started late today. I've been having issues with technical stuff and all that stuff. So today has been one of those days, and I'm looking dead at the Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is acting up in my house. I don't know if you guys can see me good. Can you listen to me? Because right now my Wi-Fi is acting up. So if I get knocked out, then it's going to be an issue right now because it's unstable right now. So I don't know if you guys could tell me if you could hear me. Do I sound clear? And the whole nine. So right now my Wi-Fi is acting up. But anyway, let's jump on all in, guys. And the first thing we're gonna be talking about is the pre-show. Now, the pre-show that they had, the 0 hour. It started off with, I believe, was the Sons of Texas. It was the Von Erichs, Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes. And those guys, to be honest, those guys put in the work this weekend. They fought in the Ring of Honor Supercard and whatnot. And I think either Sammy Guevara wrestled, but I know those guys put in the work this week. And then they were again wrestling again on the 0 hour. And then the funny thing, before the 0 hour started, there was an announcement that Adam Cole had to give up the TBS title for the simple fact that he is, I don't know if he's injured, it's his sick, it's a health issue, but his match with Kyle Fletcher and himself was now being suspended because he couldn't perform and whatnot. So I'm sorry, I'm distracted, acting up, and right now I can see it. I can see that's acting up. I don't know what's the problem here, but if you guys can see me, anybody online, let me know if you can see me, if there's any issues right now and whatnot. So again, but the situation right now, what's going on, so these guys wrestled over the for the 0 hours. The Sons of Texans, they wrestled, they won their match and whatnot. That match between the Shane Taylor promotion, which I feel Shane Taylor's promotion, especially Shane Taylor, he's getting buried in AEW. This guy was a hit in Ring of Honor before Ring of Honor was bought by Tony Khan. And Shane Taylor's been lost in the shuffle. You know what I'm saying? And the only one out of that group that's making any big contribution is Lee Moriarty. So if you really think about it. So, but this whole match between the Shane Taylor against the Von Erichs and the Sons of Texas was all to promote Kerry Von Erich coming back to Texas and put the claw on, Anthony Gogo, whatever his name is, and just to do that. So that pretty much didn't do anything as far as the show's, that wrestling match is concerned. But then they made that situation worse, because then we had AJ Boom, whatever his name is. His son comes out. One of them is like this all the time, and it was just stupid. I think it was Tomohiro Ishii and Kyle O'Reilly, and AJ Boom against the Don Callis family. And this match was it worth? I mean, my first thing I questioned it was, why is this guy even wrestling? You know what I'm saying? And then the fact that he pins Rocky Romero, a guy who's been in wrestling for years. I mean, even though it's not hurting him, but my point is, why is he even wrestling? Why we got this AJ Boom Boom guy? I mean, the reaction of the crowd was not that big. I mean, and at the top of it, we saw the same thing that happens usually when it comes to him and his son getting involved. Big AJ, whatever his name is, Big Justice, whatever the hell his name is, comes in. A kid spears Rocky Romero, and the referee don't see it. It was just dumb to me. It was just dumb. It didn't make no sense to me whatsoever and whatnot. So to me, it didn't make no sense to me at all. So it was just dumb stuff. And of course, we saw the FTR versus the Outrunners. That pretty much ends the Outrunners and FTR feud, or whatever you want to call it. And that puts FTR right now on the spot to be contenders for the AEW tag team titles. Now, the AEW tag team title is going to be interesting. I'm sorry. It's going to be interesting for the simple fact that, now you got the FTR in the situation. Now you saw why we saw in the tag team where we're going to get to it. Now you have added another tag team. Actually, it may be two more tag team involved with there, because after the result with Kenny Omega, the result with Christian Cage, we may see Christian Cage and Edge tag team. We're going to see maybe the Golden Lovers. I mean, so you're going to add two extra teams into the mix. Of course, you got the Young Bucks still in there. We don't know where they're going to be at. So that's all out there for the taking as far as the tag team. So the Outrunners losing to FTR is pretty much ends the little mini feud they had with FTR, and probably the Outrunners are not going to be jobbers. Even though, for my liking, I mean, they're the 1980s stuff, and people like that old school stuff. I really know. I'm not too big of a fan of them, but saying they're not that bad, but whatever. So, but then so we move on to the main show. In the main show, we had the trios title, and which was Gabe Kidd, Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta against the Ops. Now, this match, of course, went back and forth, but the ending out of that was very interesting, and it kind of set up how the whole night was gonna go, and that was, let's take out Samoa Joe. So when Moxley wrestles Hangman, now we took out one guy who's not going to be able to help Hangman. That's the way I took it. So now, and Gabe Kidd, who now, he's going to go back to Japan, because right now he's got to get ready for the G1 Climax. I already knew he wasn't going to win the 6-man tag. You said now Gabe Kidd is going to go back to Japan, and somehow, he's going to come back to AEW. He's going to have to confront Samoa Joe. So these two are going to end up wrestling each other somewhere down the line. But the way they set up All In for the beginning of the match was, yes, the Ops won the match, but the Death Riders and Gabe Kidd took out Samoa Joe. That was the first thing that started for the show. So then we had MJF winning. I mean, I'm taking the high spots out of all this. MJF winning the men's gauntlet. And he is the next in line for Hangman Page. But this is not a surprise. This is how I knew Hangman Page was going to win the AEW World Title, and I knew that how you call it? That MJF was going to win the gauntlet, for the simple fact that these guys have wrestled twice, and I think they won and won. So they're going to end up fading somewhere down the line. And that's how I think where MJF is going to try to go for Hangman's Page, either Forbidden Door or, what's the next one? They're probably All Out. And he's not going to win the title. And that's going to start the problem with him and the Hurt Syndicate. And who knows? We'll probably see FTR join. Like I said, I keep saying FTR joining MJF. You know what I'm saying? Anything is possible. I still see for FTR winning those belts away from the Hurt Business somewhere, somehow, but that's down the line. That's the way I'm looking at it. But like I said, I knew MJF was going to win it. It was a good men's casino match. gauntlet match, but it is what it is. Now, the one thing I think I kept, one match that I felt that was kind of messed up was the fact that the Adam Cole match. I mean, he was supposed to wrestle Kyle Fletcher, and like I said in the beginning, they announced that that Adam Cole was hurt. Adam Cole came out of the ring. He went and he got emotional, and it looks like he mentioned the word retirement. So I don't know how bad the injury is. I don't know if he got a sickness, whatever. The bottom line is, we don't know if he's going to come back to wrestle. But he had to give up. He had to give up the TBS title, and in the TBS match again, like I said, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara putting in the work. They wrestled in this 4-way. They included, Bandito. I think it was Bandito in there. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't Bandito. Daniel Garcia, Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes, and Kyle Fletcher. Now, the only thing that got me upset was why the hell did Dustin Rhodes win the TNT title? For what? So he could have a good feel moment in Texas? You're still pushing, but Kyle Fletcher has been, I think Kyle Fletcher has been the MVP in AEW the last year and a half. You're going to make him wait even more for him to win the TNT title and whatnot. He should have won it last night, not Dustin Rhodes. So to me, I was a low part of the show. Besides the AJ Boom, this was a low part for me. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we get the little good feel moment, but the reason they gave him the belt was because he signed a 6-year deal contract before All In. He signed a 6-year deal with AEW. So he's going to be there for a long time, for another 6 years. So who knows? You know what I'm saying? Somebody said MJF cash in is probably at All Out. Maybe but again, I don't see MJF winning the belt. For the simple fact, there's got to be some type of thing going on where there's a breakup between him and the Hurt Syndicate. You know what I'm saying? And then and that's when Cedric Alexander may join the Hurt Syndicate. And he might bring in Alexander Hammerstone. Because I don't think Alexander Hammerstone is signed contract-wise with MLW. So I don't know that. But I know they bump into it. And I think MLW started working with AEW all of a sudden. So we don't know. But that's, MJF, you're right, Suplex. He could cash in at All Out, but we'll see what happens, though. So moving on, I mean, that Dustin Rhodes thing shocked everyone, even me. So the Young Bucks losing the EVP title and where they go from here. I mean, do they still work with the Death Riders? What's going to happen to the Elite? No more Elite. Omega is going to join with Golden Lovers. You know what I'm saying? So what's going to happen to the Young Bucks? They're going to go in now and still be part of the tag team scene and whatnot. Anything can happen, but that match between them and Strickland and Ospreay was awesome. It was awesome. It was crazy. It was just that match. I mean, that could be tag team match of the year. Those guys took it to another level. And as much as people criticize the Young Bucks always try to figure out to win the match. That's the crazy part. They're gonna end up, they find ways to win, but. Now, like I said, we were talking about the tag team division with the Young Bucks coming in. There's a possibility that Edge and Christian are going to get together, and that Tony Khan is a mark for old school stuff. They may get the titles. I mean, the division right now, the Guns are back. You know what I'm saying? Talking about that, the Guns are back, and I didn't know that Gates of Agony now join Ricochet. So the Guns are back. Juice Robinson is back. So this roster is now, everybody's coming back. Anyone who's missing, Jay White. He missed All Out. I mean, All In. So, so that's something to look at when it comes to the tag team. Now with the Young Bucks, the tag team division might get back to the way it was. The women's gauntlet saw Athena win, which shocked me because I had Mega Bane winning the whole thing. Athena right now being pushed from. She's been a dominant Ring of Honor World Champion. I think she broke Samoa Joe's record. She broke Lethal's record, maybe even Bryan Danielson's record in Ring of Honor as a champion. So is she going to be the one who's going to dethrone Toni Storm? You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has tried, and Athena's the only one who pretty much lost to Mercedes. So are we going to get Athena against Toni Storm, either in Forbidden Door or All Out, and then Toni Storm loses the belt to Athena, and then Athena faces Mercedes Moné for round 2, and we were going to have another classic match between these two ladies. So Athena, that caught me off guard, her winning this gauntlet. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know she was in it until I saw her come out, and I had Mega Bane. I mean, I don't know what Tony Khan is doing when it comes to Mega Bane. He is dropping the ball on this woman who has everything in the book as far as a woman wrestler, and he's dropping the ball. This woman should have beaten Tony Storm or even won by disqualification, somewhere or the other. But no, they got her with penalty for it, which to me, she don't need penalty for it. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens with that. As far as that's concerned, Takeshita may be the next guy who's going to be in line against Okada, because Okada beat Omega last night on the 5th match, and pretty much Okada kind of dominated most of that match because, you know, we saw, you know, the effects of the teleconvitis, whatever they call that, the disease that Omega had, and they played that all along during the match. It was a great match. I mean, I think it stood over 30-something minutes between these two guys, and they took it back to the way it was the 4 times they met in Japan. This one, they lived up to the hype. And unfortunately, Omega did not win the AEW Unified Championship, but then again, he doesn't need to. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need to, because now he could go and now join Ibushi and get the Golden Lovers back. And that's another tag team who's going to be in the tag team scene to make the tag team scene as it is. So Omega don't need to win the World Championship. He don't need to be in the world title scene. They just gave him the the international belt pretty much to set this matchup for All In. Now, the question I still believe, are they still going to do a Continental Classic? You know what I'm saying? Or they're going to do some type of tournament for the AEW Unified Championship. Who knows? But Takeshita may be the guy that Okada's going to have to face down the line. I don't know when, but him and Takeshita has issue. Takeshita right now, after last night, he's heading back to Japan because he's participating at the G1 Climax, so he'll be there. And I think his first opponent in Japan on the G1 is Gabe Kidd, and that match, I cannot wait to see that match between those two guys. Moving along, we're going to the world title, the world title match and the main event. And by the way, guys, if I'm stumbling, it's because I'm on 4 hours of sleep. I didn't get to see the all out or all in, whatever, all in event live because I had things to do and I wasn't able to do it. I had to catch up watching. I stood up to almost 3 a.m. watching this event just to be here and give you what my thoughts about this. But again, going back for the main event, that match between Moxley and Hangman, did they start bleeding within 3 to 4 minutes into the match? Now, I don't know if you guys saw, but during the match, you saw the gash that Moxley had in his head. This guy had a nasty gash right here on the top of the head, including all the other stuff he did, the glass bottles, everything in the kitchen sink was brought in this Texas death match. Now, I knew that there's no way that Moxley was going to win. There's no way you're going to keep that world title locked up in a briefcase for another 7 years. 7 months, whatever the fuck. Okay, there was no way they were going to do that. Now, and a lot of people may not agree with what I'm about to say right now, but this is a combination of a wrong that was corrected, and that was Hangman Page winning the world title. Okay, and I'm bringing this up because 3 years ago, Hangman Page was the world champion. He lost the belt to CM Punk. Now, when he became the world champion, I'm talking about Hangman Page, there was reports that CM Punk was worried about Hangman Page being the world champion. Of course, he was playing politics behind the scene and whatnot, and he ended up winning the title and whatnot, even though he wasn't able to defend it any other times that he had the world title. But anyway, I digress. Hangman winning the world title is redemption. All right. a wrong corrected. And he actually he deserves this world title. And the match, the way he put it last night, he took a beating and a half and he kept standing up. Now, I did say something last week, okay? And I did it on my prediction too, and which I said, Bryan Danielson showed up at CMML and whatnot. He showed up at CMML and helped, I believe it was, I don't remember who it was, Blue Panther against Shane Taylor. And once I saw that he came back in Mexico for CMML and he did the psycho knee, I knew he was going to get involved in this match, the main event last night, for the simple fact that he was the last guy that held the AEW world title. And remember, they put a plastic over him and whatnot. When Hangman took out the title still had the plates. There was Bryan Danielson's name on them. So that goes to show you, Darby Allin came back. And Darby was the first one to confront Moxley when Moxley took the belt from Bryan Danielson. So everything that came to fruition last night was pretty much everything. I mean, the 9 months that they tried to put everything together and all this nonsense. And I believe that they did a good job as far as that. And the ending was perfect. And Hangman Page retribution, should we say. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me that this was not retribution for the wrong that was done to him, because he spoke up on CM Punk and what he was trying to do with AEW. As you can see today, he's no longer with AEW, and that's back to WWE and whatnot. And I'm sorry, but Hangman Page deserves the title. Now, is he going to hold it for a long time? I don't know, because now the next challenger is MJF. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to see what happens with that. So overall, the show was pretty good. The show was awesome. It was long, almost 7 to 8 hours, but it was awesome. It was real good. And I believe that, AEW hit a home run with this. They did. They hit a home run with this show. Even though it's 7 a.m., people complain. This is what the how do you call that? The IWC do. They complain. Oh, the show is too long. Blah blah blah. But it's funny. Is if it was WWE, it's not too long. So now that I talk about WWE, let's go with WWE and what WWE did this weekend, and that was counter program AEW All In. And as you know, tonight they got the Women's Revolution, which I think is going to flop. To be honest, it's going to flop. And AEW showed you all the women's who's involved in their roster, and their roster they still got a lot of other women's in there that they could have presented last night and whatnot. We had they did the debut of Sherry, and I think this lady named Late Harwood. I seen this New Japan Strong before. But let's talk about WWE and they counter programming, which I think that counter programming backfired and it cost them one of their main superstars, which is Seth Rollins. As of last night, Seth Rollins attempted to do it looked like he was trying to do a moonsault or whatever and landed wrong and his knee buckled. Okay, now we don't know what is the severity if he's going to be out. We don't know if he has how do you call that, if he has the if he has a damage ligament or whatever the hell you want to call it. Nothing is set in stone. So, but the funny thing is, as soon as this happened, we had wannabe podcasters, or I don't know what they were, but they would start talking about that wrestling fans should not jump online and talk crap about, Seth Rollins still could have the Money in the Bank briefcase because he got up to a year to cash it in. So he got time to, if he got injured, he could hold on to the briefcase. That is not going to happen. WWE is not going to have Seth Rollins sit at home and pretty much, do nothing. And, the things that I hear sometimes, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe because I'm tired, but people talking about, he could hold the briefcase until he comes back. WWE is not going to do that. What they're going to do with the briefcase, I don't know. But if it looks the way he came down and the way he sat down right away, it could be maybe a ligament damage. It could be a twisted knee. He may be out for a few months and whatnot. Now, the way I look at it, now this is a bad situation for WWE. Now, I've been saying this since I believe April, that WWE has been playing around with as far as their storylines. Okay. They've been pushing the whole Seth Rollins and CM Punk and nonsense, but they've been dragging all their storylines. And if you look at the shows, the SmackDown shows, the Raw shows, they're not good. Okay. The bottom line, the way I'm looking at it, why was Seth Rollins wrestling LA Knight? Why are we still dragging that whole story? I don't understand it. Why are we crossing brands? I thought there was no more brand crossing. See, the problem with WWE, they too busy trying to do media stuff, trying to be everywhere, want to, be advertised everywhere, and they're not focusing on the product. Last night, the crazy part about it was that they were focusing and bringing in Jelly. Now, my question is, why do we have a guy who has no business in wrestling teaming up with Randy Orton to have a feud with Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul? Okay, so this is what I get. So they sacrificed, they went and they've counter-programmed AEW for you to see on Saturday Night Main Event Jelly, who has no business in the ring at all. I don't care if he did a little splash. I don't know what event was. Does not mean his ass supposed to be in that ring. I'm sorry. He's not supposed to. So because you needed to advertise this man, you needed to put Goldberg, who's 60 years old, where we knew he was not going to be Gunther. And the fact that the match lasted 14 minutes is crazy. And the reason they did that was because the Seth Rollins match had to be stopped, or, it was cut short. So they had to fill in the minutes and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And what kills me is that you did all this, you counter program AEW, and it cost you one of your main guys. Because now we don't know if how long he's gonna be out. He's not making the SummerSlam. And now the whole story with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, what's the other guy? Oh my God. I used to know him as Jonah outside Bronson Reed. You got all these guys. Got Paul Heyman now. You only got two guys. The main guy is not there now. Now what? Why you continue to counter program? It beats me. If you're not afraid, you claim AEW is not competition, but yet last night you were trying to counter program while they were still on the air. So what the AEW did, they timed it perfectly. They put the main event on the same time that Saturday Night Main Event started. The Saturday Night Main Event started with Jelly. Who the hell is watching Jelly in the ring? With Ring of Honor, with Randy Orton. You know what I'm saying? Because if you said that you'd rather watch that over what we saw in AEW, then you're not a wrestling fan. You shouldn't even be watching wrestling, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know WWE's petty. Counter programming for what? If you're not worried about AEW, why are you counter programming? And then now this costs you your main guy, your main story. A story that's going to bring Roman Reigns back in a couple of months. Maybe in Survivor Series, maybe SummerSlam, now we're not going to get that because we don't know the severity of the injury that Seth Rollins. And if there's anything that the situation he had a couple of years ago that he was out for almost 9 months and whatnot, it's crazy. I mean, and as a matter of fact, I understand that Seth Rollins, that's part of his arsenal, the whole high risk stuff, whatever. But dude, you had knee issues in the past. Why are you still doing that? I don't get it. And then you're doing it with a guy like LA Knight. LA Knight is not going to do all that flying bull crap and all that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And at the top of it all, the only reason LA Knight won was because Seth Rollins got hurt. They had to do audible. You know what I'm saying? The Mott's question is, now you lose Rollins, what are you going to do when it comes to the stories now? Okay? Because that affects every storyline in WWE now. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to come up with something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand why WWE continues to counter the AEW. Now they're trying, I think they got plans for August 20 something, the same weekend where AEW is doing the Forbidden Door. Why? I don't understand that. Why? You got your fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to steal fans from AEW. AEW fans are going to stick with AEW, regardless of what happened. They still stood there after the whole miserable last year, 2024, where they were getting almost 500,000 views a week in Dynamite, which was, I mean, they were going through hell. But even they doing good right now, you still have podcasters still talking crap about, I can't fathom the 9 months. And don't watch it then. Don't watch AEW. Watch WWE and get stuck watching the same damn storyline that's been going on before WrestleMania. It's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I tried to sit down and watch WWE, but WWE plays with the fans. And the fact that WWE is raising prices to people to go see these events, that's not going to help them at all. You know what I'm saying? And what happened with the Papa H is cooking? Papa H ain't cooking shit. They're not cooking anything. So now we'll see what's going to happen. Let's see if Papa H could cook now with Seth Rollins out of the picture. We'll see what happens. So that is it for me, guys. Listen, I've been on 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, whatever it has been, watching, again, All In Texas. And let me tell you, even though I'm tired, I still went to the gym this morning, put in my 1 hour and a half, whatever it was. It was worth it. It was worth watching All In because I do not get to see these wrestling matches. And I'm not into that comparison with WWE because WWE is going to do what WWE does. Okay. And some of the matches I may like it. Sometimes I just don't like it because it's just storylines don't make sense. I rather watch AEW. And I'm not going to say that AEW doesn't do stupid shit because, I mean, look what they did. They're still bringing in AJ Boone to do what? And giving the belt to Dustin Rhodes for the TNT belt just for, a feeling moment. This man's walking around with 3 titles. The Ring of Honor tag team titles and the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. So it's crazy. So anyway, that is it for me today, guys. If you guys want to follow me, you can follow me right there. You see it right there, Facebook, Instagram, the X, and YouTube and whatnot. I don't know how my Wi-Fi looked like, if it was good or not. So I'm sure probably going to be disappointed because I was having Wi-Fi issues all day today. So, but again, thank you for, supporting the podcast. Hit that subscribe buttons, guys. I would appreciate it. Also hit that thumbs up. That helps the channel and whatnot. Also, guys, if you want to support the podcast even more, check out the go on Twitter if you want. And the Ultimate One, it says right there at Ultimate One at Twitter. And check out the link to my t-shirts, hats, hoodies. You go to tcwr.veryinkpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryinkpressive.com. And also we're available on TikTok and whatnot. So let me know what you guys think. So other than that, guys, thank you for supporting the podcast. I'll see you guys next week with more of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report.